keep going. Men, do you focus on feelings? Little focus on feelings, or do you focus on feelings? Around the room, there's not too many men here. Right here? Would you turn in your mom?
I guess it would be situational. I mean, I think I'd probably have to approach my mom and try to make her reason, and hopefully she'd lead her towards making a correct, action or decision. But yeah, I think because you're mother, I don't think I'd turn her in.
I understand. I'm not trying to make any of this out as being silly, stupid, or anything of that sort. It's real. And it's the difference in the moral philosophy that someone comes forward with. All right, women, it says you bring emotions and feelings into these decisions. Is this true? I think it is true. And it happened to be a female sociologist who did this research, and she was working under the direction of the person who outlined the ethic of justice, and she felt it didn't apply to women, so she designed her PhD research to investigate it for a female sample and found a difference. Now, what appears to be the fact is that and I don't have a drawing here, and let's see if I can do it. I'm going to do it with my hands in the air. There's a distribution of the ethic of justice, and the bottom axis has males on the left and females on the right. So pretty much the ethic of justice will operate for men, and the ethic of care intersects with it and operates for females, so that you end up with some men in the arena of the ethic of care, and other men are in the ethic of justice part of it, and I'm way over to the right as far as what is right and wrong. And that just comes from upbringing and the kinds of things to which I was exposed. Now, foreclosing on my mother's mortgage, defaulted mortgage, I would follow procedures such as giving her 90 days notice that I'm going to foreclose, and if she didn't pay up, then take care of it.
$18 enough kind of.
Say it again, please.
For 18 years enough kind of less she get.
I don't know if everybody. You said 18 years? Yeah, 18 years, and that's the kind of love she gets. She was a tough lady. She was a former nun. She knew what was right and wrong, and there was no debate, ever. If you can imagine growing up under that. And she said, "You'll burn in hell." That was her favorite phrase. If I did something that I thought was right but it was wrong, my name to her was Joseph. She said, "Joseph, you will burn in hell." And she had a brother who was a Jesuit priest, and he would take care of it. Okay. I love this stuff. Let's take a look at the major theories of ethics that are in the Western world, and I say it that way because there are in Buddhist and Hindu thinking, there are other ethical views, and I have not got my arms around all of those yet. So we're primarily dealing with what's going on in the West. The oldest one here is utilitarianism. You're going to have to, by the way, learn these labels. And in the chapter, it has the detail of the content. This is a summary intended to get at the major parts of it. Under utilitarianism, we behave ethically if we take a look at the costs and the benefits of a course of action, and then if the net benefits come out on the positive side, then we are behaving ethically. Now go back to finding the penny on the street, the 1 cent. There's probably nothing wrong with picking up that 1 cent because nobody is really going to get hurt by it. There is probably nothing wrong with picking up the $1 because if there's no one around and so on, nobody is going to get hurt by it. Then under rights thinking, which is more modern, utilitarianism goes back to the 1600s and comes forward. Rights thinking comes in the 1950s, 1960s, and it was an American creation, as was justice, where rights says there are entitlements. And we use this in the United States. This is a distinctly U.S. way of thinking. We have a Bill of Rights, and we believe that there are certain protections because of people's ages, both extremely young and extremely old, and that they have an entitlement to the result. Now, justice deals with fairness, and this is one that students wrestle with constantly, I think, for example, in the grades that you receive from the different faculty that you have in different courses. And you may feel fairly or unfairly treated. And it's a powerful force on us, and we're going to revisit it in the Motivation chapter later on, where we have a specific way of thinking. Now, egoism of the four is actually the oldest of these. And this particular moral philosophy says that it's okay to act in your self-interest. Now, think of if you have any really young siblings in your families, or if you can remember how you behaved as like a 3 or 4-year-old. In my observations, even with both my children and the children of others of that age, if Jimmy wants the football that Jenny has, Jimmy takes the football from Jenny and says, "It's mine." Am I right? It can be whatever it is, a football, a cupcake, or something. And mom and dad may say, "Jimmy, that's wrong," and Jimmy's going to say, "No, I want the football." Right? Straightforward. Now carry that forward up to the age of 39, and you're walking down the street and you see a Ferrari that you want, and you take it, and you're Jimmy, and you learned at 3 that taking the football was okay, or you thought you did, and now you take the Ferrari and you still think it's okay. That's egoism. It's me and only me, with no concern for the larger society. How does this go down with you? Is it a good way of thinking or a bad way of thinking? What do you think? Pardon?
It's a good way to get you arrested.
If you get caught. Because as you approach the Ferrari, you check your cell phone and you look all the way around you, and there's no one there. And whoever left the keys in it deserves to lose the car, in your opinion. And did you say yes?
If they left the keys in the Ferrari, yeah. Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you. It happens. And you may say, they deserve it. Well, once again, nobody is looking.
Hey, if they aren't going to be responsible for their keys and their Ferrari, then I'm not going to be responsible for my actions.
Ooh.
See, I think this also comes from city living, where you have to lock everything. I've lived places where I don't lock my front door, ever.
Yeah.
And my car's never locked, and I move here and I have to lock everything.
Good example. Thank you for the example. And you're right, where you know you're safe, if you're out in the rural area or neighborhood agrees and all that kind of stuff. And careful with this line of thinking of saying, well, the person deserved it. See, when you're walking about and you see these opportunities to behave unethically, the only thing that's going to guide you are your personal values. And I am not kidding to you when I say the ghost of my late mother is sitting on my right shoulder. She had a powerful influence on me. And, I mean, I'm 68 years old. You say you should have grown up by this time. I did. All right. So here are the questions. And there's a modification to egoism. In fact, when I first wrote that chapter several years ago, it was reviewed by professors, and they wanted me to take out egoism. And I spoke to my editor, and I said, no, it's a legitimate philosophical way of thinking. There is a prescribed philosophy for it, and I want to keep it in there. And it is controversial. So, when looking at situations, the four